Okay, so welcome back officially to both of you to the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go live session. Let's jump into today's daily quote. It's a bit of teaching around that, which will lead us nicely into today's workbook lesson, which is another review lesson. And we review 5 original lessons, lessons 41 to 45 are on today. So yeah, let's jump in, shall we? Okay, so let me share my screen with you. Where are we? There we go. Okay, so can you both see that? Make it a bit bigger if you want. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I need to make it bigger? Settings and more. Zoom in. Let's zoom in a bit. Shall we? There we go. Okay, so Kim, if you want to kick it off with reading the quote, which is adapted from an original quote by Winston Churchill. You can read that, and then we'll just talk about what he's saying a little bit. That'll lead us into our lesson.
To every person, there comes in their lifetime that special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which would be their finest hour.
Now, the original was in the masculine, but I changed it to be gender neutral because obviously it applies to women as much as men. And interesting that that's what we discussed in our expression session. Exactly what you're asking. So you read the quote.
Yeah, I
So
did read it this morning, yes.
there comes that time where it's okay, yeah, am I being tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talent? So this is what the Holy Spirit calls, Yeshua calls the special function in the Course, saying you have a special function in this world that is unique to you, fitted to you, your life experience, your talents, that expresses love in a unique way that's unique to you and your experience and your life in this world. So no one else can do exactly that. It's your task, it's your purpose to fulfill or not. And in the East, they call that a dharma. You find your dharma in this life, the special function in which you are aligned with love. So you're inspired by love, but there is a special purpose that you're fulfilling. So that would imply, okay, there's form involved, there's some action, there's measurable outcomes. Although you're not overtly focused on those, you're not saying, well, I'll only be happy when I get to my outcome. It's not that. I'm happy because I'm following the will of God, because I feel inspired, and I'm just guided moment by moment to do what I'm called to do. And this is what we call your higher purpose, inspired purpose, your destiny, your dharma. There's many names for it. Winston Churchill famously found his destiny when he answered the call to inspire a nation, the British nation, to face and triumph over the darkness arising in his time, over 80 years ago, 1940.
Under the bed somewhere.
It was a very dark time for the UK and the world. And it needed someone to listen to the call and say, well, in this time I can make a difference. And he did. He was the right person at the right time, which is why he came up with the quote. It's like, well, that was his chance to do a very special thing, unique to them, fitted to their talents. And he had to answer the call. So 4 to 5 years ago, humanity endured quite a dark time, which we had COVID-19, reaction by worldly authorities to the so-called pandemic, caused billions of people to suffer in apparently unnecessary ways. But all darkness and the suffering it causes is really the call to awaken to the light of pure formless awareness that lies dormant within us. And that's the true purpose of the pandemic and any other adversity you may face in life, to awaken you and millions of other people to their true power as extensions of the loving presence of pure formless awareness that is the ultimate power in the universe. So you could look at where the world is at the moment and go, well, this is just a car crash. It's a crisis. There's, we had the COVID-19 pandemic, we had vaccinations that being administered on an unprecedented mass scale. We still don't know what the effects of all that's going to be. We had increasing levels of government control around the world in response to that, the rapid evolution of artificial intelligence. Elon Musk is on record as saying it's a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. We could be really scared about that, scenarios of the Matrix, etc. These are just some of the prominent recent apparent threats to our health and well-being. And then, there's older ones, now seemingly, quote, normal threats produced over the years. The rapid destruction and pollution of the natural environment sustains all life on this planet. I remember when I was 16, and I think it was 1989, seeing the cover of Time magazine, and they made, instead of Person of the Year, they made the Earth Planet of the Year. They really highlighted all these issues. Global warming, at that stage that had only just started, but that seems to have ramped up in the last 20, 30 years. Wars in the Middle East and Ukraine could escalate into nuclear war and so on. And all of this seemingly going on around the world is tempting to lose hope and think that humanity is inevitably doomed to go the way of the dinosaurs in the next century or two. But there's another way of looking at it. It's fortunately what the Course teaches us. The crisis into which we've worked ourselves as a species over the last few thousand years of what we call human civilization is a call and an opportunity to break through into a new level of awareness of perfect love or oneness, that is the Holy Spirit, because it's surely obvious to anyone with even a half-open mind that the ego, just the belief in separation, has miscreated this world, and our seemingly separate identities as human beings with bodies is a complete disaster of the thought system. It produces only suffering, sickness, pain, death, and disaster for humanity and all other life on this planet. So I think we've seen the effects of the ego for long enough, severely enough to get the lesson and understand that. The question is, will we learn, or will we just carry on doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same result, which Einstein said is the definition of insanity. So in other words, we no longer have the luxury of indulging in the ego's thought system for another 1,000 years or so, because its destructive effects have become so apparent that we must change our collective mind quickly, or we'll just perish as a species. Now we've got atomic weapons. Someone just has to press the wrong button, and that's it. We destroy ourselves. So advanced, apparently such a clever species that we invent technologies that can wipe us out instantly. Well, that's not very clever, actually. The dinosaurs lasted hundreds of millions of years. and we've only been here a couple of million, and we got so clever, too clever for our own good, that we're going to wipe ourselves out. Or we have to evolve beyond that level of thought that invented atomic weapons and wants to just kill and destroy. That's the opportunity for everyone as an individual and us as a species, as a collective. So the question is, could you have asked before you chose to be born into this lifetime for a better, quote, nudge from the universe to awaken in the crisis we're currently facing? Could you ask for a higher purpose for your life and to become a leader of this awakening by demonstrating it to everyone whose life you touch? In crisis, what's required is then people who awaken, who become leaders. And that is the calling. That's your higher purpose. However that looks for you. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to become a world famous figure like a Nelson Mandela or Gandhi or Martin Luther King. That was their path. But in your own way, you can become a leader of this awakening. You can make a difference to others, and you can show other people the way to live consciously with spirit guiding you wisely in what is been set up by the ego to be a very difficult, challenging environment. So how do you do that? Well, we have the daily mind training lessons in the course to keep us on track, a comprehensive theoretical foundation in the text, just to remind us that this is a choice we have between our egos or separate selves and the voice of the Holy Spirit, which is the remembrance of perfect love that represents our true self, and God, or pure formless awareness of perfect love. So in today's bonus session, I explain a tool, a wonderful tool for starting to listen to this voice rather than the egos, and that's breathwork. Just breathing deeply, deep diaphragmatic breathing is a wonderful way to cultivate this awareness. And that will also help improve your mental and physical health and well-being as a side effect of that. It's a foundational practice that will support you in living a healthier, happier, and more effective life. Breathing deeply through your nose while you focus all your attention on your breathing is a wonderful spiritual practice called breath watching. The Buddhists call it anapanasati, which just means mindfulness of breathing in Pali, which is part of the Vipassana meditation technique the Buddha taught 2,500 years ago. So we can go back 2,500 years and still get these really amazingly helpful techniques that come out of this ancient wisdom. That's been modernized and rebranded really today as the mindfulness movement. All this guy John Kabat-Zinn in the 1970s did was he took these kinds of breathwork techniques from traditions like Vipassana. He said, well, let's not call it Vipassana and associate with Buddhism. Let's just call it mindfulness, and we'll start another movement and essentially rebrand these ancient techniques and wisdom, which is what's happened. So just 10 minutes of breath watching twice a day can profoundly change your life. That's called meditation, just sitting quietly, watching your breath. Connects you with a deeper presence in you that is just waiting there to be discovered, which is why breathwork is an integral part of the Art of Letting Go program. It's incorporated into all the meditations and the breath breaks. So if you do the program and you listen to the recordings I give you, then you'll be doing some conscious breathwork naturally as part of your day. So in the second part of this bonus session for today, I guided a meditation based on yesterday's workbook lessons for review and the text reading called the Holy Encounter. And we also discussed the true meaning of the crucifixion, section 1 of chapter 6, given it's just been Easter. And really, just to summarize, that true meaning is that everyone can transcend the suffering caused by the ego's thought system. Fear, attack, sacrifice, and death symbolized in the crucifixion of Yeshua. So that crucifixion symbolized the worst of the ego, but the resurrection symbolized the transcendence of that, the ability to choose eternal life, or pure formless awareness, as we call it, instead of the ego's suffering, sickness, pain, and death. And that's really the true meaning of the crucifixion. It's actually the resurrection. that it led to that's important, which can get lost in traditional Christian interpretation of it. They tend to focus more on the crucifixion. Hence, the symbol is the cross and Jesus dying on the cross. Why didn't they choose symbol of the rock and the empty cave? That would have been a better symbol, in my view, for Christianity, because it symbolized the transcendence of all that. All of the suffering on the cross was left behind in the resurrection. We also explained the 8 limbs of yoga as a good model for structuring one's life in a way that supports your spiritual growth, as Vimala Thakkar urged us to do in yesterday's inspirational quote that I shared again, just for your convenience. So let's ask Elaine. Elaine, if you can read that. Is it big enough? Do I need to make it a bit bigger, maybe?
Well,
Can you read that?
Yeah.
Can you read the quote by
Yeah.
Vimala Thakkar, who was an
Yeah.
Indian spiritual teacher and activist?
yeah. Unless you put the house of your life, physically and verbal structures in order, the urge for exploration of that which is beyond time and space will remain only a wish in the mind. If there is disorder in simple things of life, like diet, sleep, exercise, breathing, trying to build a structure of exploration will be like building a house in the sand.
And there's the photo of the house built on sand collapsing, and the house built on rock, which really she's referring to Jesus's famous parable of the man who built his house on the rock of truth and on the sand. And, the parable goes that the house built on rock stood the test of the winds. The winds came and blew, the rains came, the storm came, but it stood because it's on the rock of a solid foundation of truth. So, this is an analogy saying, well, when the inevitable adversities of life come, is your house built on the rock of truth and that's going to withstand that, so you'll become resilient, or are you going to crumble and is it just going to fall over? Which is what a house built on sand does. And if your foundation is false, it's the ego, and it's all about getting the external world to work as your ego expectations want it to, then it's a house built on sand, and you will suffer, and it will collapse because there's no true foundation. It's all illusory. So often that's what happens for people to awaken. Sometimes that's what needs to happen. The house built on sand needs to collapse. And then, the ego says, oh, man, this is terrible, and it's a disaster, and it's the end of my life, and what am I going to do? But this is actually the opportunity to awaken into the truth and to start building again their life on a solid foundation of truth. And so, the crisis is an opportunity for awakening. But you have to recognize that and let go of your attachment to that which is seemingly gone. If you recall in the development of trust, the first 3 stages are all about letting go. First stage is a difficult stage of undoing. Okay, so often things change, things seem to be taken away. The house of your existing life collapses because it's built on sand. And you either freak out and go, oh, my life's over, this is terrible, spend the rest of your life complaining about it, wailing and gnashing teeth, becoming a victim of it. Or you say, okay, but this is actually good. This is exactly what I need. Because this is the letting go of my ego's identification with these structures. So I'm being forced to let go of it and go on this path of spiritual awakening. Second part was a period of sorting out, then a period of relinquishment. Finally saying, okay, I'm willing to let go of the valueless. The house built on sand is valueless. That life built on the sand of illusion is valueless. I'm willing to let it all go and build a new life on a solid foundation of truth, which is when you get to stage 4, period of rest, where it's okay, so I've let go of this and I come to period of, okay, I've accepted this and I'm reasonably peaceful for a while, until another period of letting go has to come, where you let go of all judgment. That means you completely move beyond egoic judgments And step 6 is finding the peace of God, period of achievement, as he calls it, where you just surrender to the Spirit. Everything is guided, you're in flow, and there really isn't any resistance to the ego's world. You've just overlooked it, and you dwell in this holy place, in the enlightened state that people like Yeshua and the Buddha have attained. Okay, so yeah, quite a profound quote, actually. What she's saying is referring to the parable. On a practical level, what she's saying is very valid. You know, these simple things like diet, sleep, exercise, breathing, if you can get them right, they build your life on a solid foundation. And if you get them wrong, then you know you're going to run into problems in the long term. You know, recently I was in hospital, and I think it was just something in my diet, nothing major, but like I think I figured it out. It's like, okay, well, just don't eat those particular foods, and you'll be okay. And maybe there was some other things like not getting enough sleep as well. But then it's about paying attention to these signs and saying, okay, you're going to listen to that sign and make the changes and restore your life to this solid foundation based on truth. The guidance of the Holy Spirit can guide you to do this, to have a diet and sleep and exercise and breathing. We all need to do all this stuff, but to do it in a way that's conscious, that's helpful to your awakening rather than deleterious to your awakening. That's really the question. Can you do that? And so she's encouraging us to really look at those elements and say, well, put these structures in place so that the urge for exploration of that which is beyond time and space, i.e. spirit, eternity, truth, you have the strong foundation to be able to do that. For years and years, I've done this pretty well, but then you've got to keep vigilant and keep monitoring, because it's easy to slip and go, okay, well, maybe there's some aspects that aren't optimal. And if you run into trouble, then usually that's a sign that there's something underlying that's problematic. So it's a little warning sign to say, look at it. And if you look at it and you correct it, then that's the miracle. And then you don't have to, suffer unduly. It's just like it's a nudge or tap on the shoulder to say, just look at it and do a course correction, which is what miracles are all about, right? They're corrections, correcting your course. All right. So yeah, any thoughts or comments or questions on any of that? Great session to watch. There was quite a lot in it, actually. It was several hours, because we did fundamentals of breathwork training and then the true meaning of the crucifixion. But you'll see how there's actually quite a good connection between them, even though they seem to be opposite. So highly recommend watching or listening to that. You can either watch the video or download and listen to the podcast. Up to you. So that brings us to the present moment. We're in the session. Here we are. So let's have a look at today's review lessons. There are 5 of them.
I think before we before we move on to that, it's just I mean, again, it's referring to that the chaos in the world. Again, there's this YouTube channel and podcast, Next Level Soul, and so many of the guests, there's definitely that common theme of there's chaos coming. It's the opportunity for humanity to awaken, and many more people are awaking. The purposes, and now the person that does the interview, always asks same or similar questions to each of his guests. Like what is the meaning of what is for you God, or something like that. And it's all, like the common answers are, it's love, or all encompassing love, or the purpose we have for is awakening. And they're either they might be channelers, they might be mediums. I mean, Dave Hoffmeister's been on there.
I think I've watched
couple of times.
Yeah, I've watched,
yes, yeah. But
I've watched
it's
a couple of those episodes.
Yeah. Actually, the latest one, it's a woman who's this medium, and it's I started listening to it, and she was actually kidnapped as a child, and she's the one kidnapper was out of prison or lived lives quite close to her, and she was a bit wary about it when they were interviewing her a few months ago, but she seems to have forgiven, she feels this love for this person, and she was talking about how I think she had to be a medium for someone else that died 6 years old. It was actually a case. They come to her just with cases. And again, it was like this person was saying, don't worry, I'm in this like perfect place of love. This child, well, on earth, she was a child that died of 6, and there was a lot of family consternation about blame and guilt and all that, and she just said, like, don't worry. And yeah, it was very interesting. I was kind of doing something else at the time, so I didn't get all the details, but this has sounded to me again around forgiveness and love, and all these common themes and an awakening. So it just feels like, whichever way one goes about it, that's the opportunity that you referred to in the email. That's what I want to say. Yeah.
All roads eventually to that realization.
Yeah.
That's really the only purpose of our lives here is to let go of the self-concept we call the ego and find the true self that is one with God, one with perfect love. And everything that happens to us here is happening for us to help us with that process of letting go of our self-concept and surrendering to that, that greater self that we are. And so whatever's going on, the chaos, the difficulties, the disasters, the challenges, the sickness, the death, it's all part of that awakening process. That's the purpose of it. It's the only way that you're going to make any sense out of the chaos. There's how else are you going to make sense of it? You try and find sense and reason in the chaos. You look and you look and you just never find it, because it's like, but I don't get it. Like, how is this making sense? It's not logical. It seems to be very confused. It's very contradictory. Where's the love in it? It's like so much lack of love, so much pain, so much suffering. How could a loving God have created this? These are the questions, right? That have plagued religions, philosophers for millennia. Like, well, how could a loving God have created such chaos? And the only answer then is, well, God didn't create the chaos. We did. We made it up as an alternative to God, and now we're suffering because of it. And our only job is to awaken from the dream, the nightmare that we've created, and wake up to who we really are, which is God, which is that pure awareness. And that's what the dream offers us. That's the only real purpose of the dream. So I think there's a convergence. More and more people are going, yeah, that really is the only way you're going to make any sense of this. The only way you're going to find any kind of meaning, purpose, or peace while you seemingly here in a human life. If you try any other way, you're going to suffer. And that suffering will continue until you eventually die. And that's a really pointless existence. So whichever path you take, whether it's Course in Miracles or another spiritual path, you find it ends up in the same place. And a lot of these podcasters now and people who are leading their awakening, that's their purpose then. That's their special function, to create these conversations, to awaken people through the, listening to these conversations, to the truth. That this is the only truth. This is the only way you're ever going to find any kind of meaning and purpose in an insane world is to realize that all you have to do here is let it go. That's why you're here. That's your purpose. That's the meaning. And then how that plays out for you, that's your Dharma, right? So your unique path of letting go of the dream world and helping others to do that, because remember, we're not alone. So when we awaken, we're helping everyone to awaken. How do I be that presence of love and serve the awakening while I'm here? That becomes your special function. Now you have a true purpose, a real purpose in an insane world, which is escaping from the insanity, escaping the asylum. That becomes the purpose. And how that looks for you is going to be different They'll take a different form, even though the underlying meaning is the same. See? So, in my case, it's, well, I've created a course and I'm teaching A Course in Miracles and other things as part of that. Someone else will have a podcast or write a book or have a blog or do, any number of other things. But it's all serving the same purpose. And that's what we're here to find. So people like John Calvin and the Buddha, and they all found their unique purpose. They found something that was for them to do in that time, in that place, to serve the awakening, and they did it. And then we have the benefit of their life experience and their teachings that come down to us through history. So, well, imagine if they hadn't done what they did. Imagine if the Buddha hadn't followed his calling and his dharma and left his cushy palace, which would have been difficult to do, right? He had everything laid on, right? He's a prince and he's got servants and he's got an arranged marriage, and really he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to lift a finger. One day he'll inherit, the kingdom. He'll become the king and he'll have loads of, just easy, pleasant life. But it didn't serve him. He realized that this is not what he wants in his life. So he goes out and leaves it all behind and faces all kinds of difficulties and hardships. Nearly kills himself, but eventually 7 years later awakens to the truth and then teaches that to thousands and thousands of people. And then that forms the foundation of what we now know as Buddhism, which has helped millions, hundreds of millions of people to live better lives. And so that's, there's an example of someone who followed his dharma and has had a profound impact on millions and millions of people's lives for 2,500 years. So what's stopping you then? And if he could do that, what's stopping you? John Kabat-Zinn could do it in the 70s. What's stopping you? Only the ego. And it's never easy. I think you've got to accept that it's never going to be a walk in the park, because you're going up against the ego's thought system, and the social construct is designed around the ego's foundation and designed to perpetuate that. So you have to understand that. But the people who are miracle workers and the awakeners of this world are willing to take that on and say, I'm willing to face that and find a way to overcome it. Show other people that it can be overcome. Most famously, go back to crucifixion by Yeshua. Literally went right up against that control system in his time, which was the Romans, and then the Sanhedrin, Jewish leaders controlled Jewish society, and there was this alliance between them to control people and stop their awakening, and he challenged that publicly, and so they crucified him, but he demonstrated that you can't stop the truth. The resurrection showed that that control system had no power to really do anything to him, that you could transcend it with the power of God. And that's why it's just such an amazing story, and probably the most powerful story in human history, I would say. The crucifixion, resurrection, because of the deep symbolism, because we all resonate with the symbols, the suffering and the death and the persecution. These are what happens in life and the ego's world. And then this man who took all that on and managed to transcend it showed us that you can transcend it with faith and with courage, with faith, and listening to the will of God and taking that to its extreme. Well, he knew what was going to happen to him, and yet he faced it and said, "Not my will, but thy will be done," famously in the Garden of Gethsemane. Took it all on, overcame it, and demonstrated that this ego thought system can be overcome in probably the most powerful way that any human being's ever done. That's inspired countless, probably billions of people. So there's been billions of Christians in history to do the same if you really understand it. And that's the opportunity that all of the suffering and sickness and pain and death and disaster and chaos that seems to be rife in the world. I mean, actually the world's never really been any different, but I think now it's because there's so many people on the planet and there's so much technology, and we also get to see it because now we live in a global world where if something happens on the other side of the world, you can instantly see it and you can hear news about it, moments later. That brings it more, the chaos and the suffering and the disaster become more evident. It's not that it hasn't always been going on, it's just more evident to us. But that then is the opportunity to let it go. So is there a better time then to awaken than now? And I would argue no, there's never been a better time in human history to awaken than now. So this is your chance. This is your opportunity to seize this moment, seize the day, carpe diem, as Robin Williams said in Dead Poets Society. Seize the day and use this time that you have the rest of your life to awaken. The question is, are you going to do that? Are you up for that or not? That's what the Holy Spirit's asking us, moment by moment. Are you up for that or not? Will you listen to my guidance and let go? Or are you going to let the ego guide you and get attached to all of this and be weighed down by the suffering and the sickness and the pain and the death and the disaster, all the bad news that goes on? Or do you just see the bad news? Oh, well, that's just great. It's an opportunity to let go of the nightmare of human existence in this world and transcend it. Okay, so yeah, thanks for that, Elaine. Kim, Elaine, any comments you want to share?
No, that's clear.
Yeah. So, my final wrap up on this is just what a great time to be alive. Has there ever been a better time to be alive, to learn the lessons you need to learn, to awaken? I don't think so. So embrace it. Okay, well, this is it. This is what I was born for. This is what I'm here for. Remember during COVID, when it first kicked in, I went away to the mountains in the Drakensberg for about 3 months. And so I had a lot of time to think. And I remember going through this whole kind of dark night of the soul where it's like, oh, this is terrible. And it's a couple of weeks of that. And like, why even continue? Because it's all death and disaster. And, what's becoming of humanity? But then once I faced it and said, but actually, this is why you came. The whole point of your life was to prepare you for this moment. This is when your Dharma, your destiny really starts. So are you going to step up to the start of your finest hour, as Winston Churchill calls us to do? Or are you going to shrink away and go, oh, it's just terrible, it's a disaster, I just want to get out of here? Do you have the courage to face it and say, okay, I will do what I'm called to do in this time on this planet and awaken myself and help others awaken, and I'll face the darkness just as great teachers like Yeshua did in their time, and use it to awaken myself and others? Or am I going to shrink away from it? That's the question. So there's a lot of deeper meaning in this quote, and a lot of courage that you can draw from it. And then that's one of those spiritual qualities that we need to cultivate, because you've got to be willing to face the ego and overcome it. That starts with courage at the highest level of it. Let's go. I'll show you. No, I want this one. Let's go here. That's what I wanted. So the courage. Let's go levels of mind. No, we don't want levels of mind. Sorry, I wanted the map of consciousness. So you see here, courage is the breakthrough level, 200. Because at courage, you say, I don't have the peace of God yet, but I'm willing to take the journey to get there. I'm willing to face all the darkness, and I'm willing to overcome it, to face it, let it go, and rise up. That's where it starts. That's where the turnaround starts. That's why courage is the start of positive consciousness or awareness. It's the start of the movement upwards towards ultimate awakening or enlightenment at 700 to 1,000. So you're not yet in these higher states, not even close to loving and being and perfect peace and joy, and those are still in the to come. But there's a courage to say, yeah, I will take on the ego and I will overcome this, and I will let all of this go, and I will raise myself up. As I let go, I'm going to climb this ladder, and I'm going to climb this ladder out of the clutches of the ego into these higher realms of being, which culminate in the enlightened state of pure consciousness, or as we would call it, pure formless awareness. But without the courage to start the journey, you'll never do it, which is why it's the breakthrough level, which overcomes the pride of the ego. Pride is negative awareness. Pride keeps you locked into negativity. Courage breaks free of that. Okay, so just wanted to share that. Yeah, shall we dive into our lessons then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at today's lesson, which is a review lesson. So there's 5 original lessons incorporated into it, which I really like these lessons, especially these first reviews, because there's 5 lessons in them, and you start seeing how they all tie up. That's the value of the reviews, that they all connect up. You see, when they're said in sequence like this, how the ideas link up with each other. Okay, so let's read this, shall we? This is review lesson 59. We're doing original lessons 41 to 45. So what I suggest is one of you read the original and the other the alternative sentence by sentence. So whichever way you want to do it. Kim, if you want to start maybe with the first one, then you switch the order in the second one. You read the original sentence by sentence, Elaine, you read the alternative.
God goes with me wherever I go. How can I be alone? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Elaine, you
Go
read
ahead.
the idea and its alternative.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go.
How can I be alone when God always goes with me?
How can I be alone when pure formless awareness of perfect love always goes with me?
How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when perfect certainty abides in Him?
How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when it is perfectly certain?
How can I be disturbed by anything when He rests in me in absolute peace?
How can I be disturbed by anything when it rests in me in absolute peace?
How can I suffer when love and joy surround me through Him?
How can I suffer when perfect love and joy surround me through it?
Let me not cherish illusions about myself. I am
I will not-
perfect because...
Yeah, just
Oh,
one.
sorry.
Time.
Yeah.
I will not cherish illusions about myself.
I am perfect because God goes with me wherever I go.
I am perfect because pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go.
Okay, and then Elaine, if you read it from the top.
How can I be alone when pure formless awareness of perfect love always goes with me? How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when it is perfectly certain? How can I be disturbed by anything when it rests in me in absolute peace? How can I suffer when perfect love and joy surround me through it? I will not cherish illusions about myself. I am perfect because pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go.
Yes, so thoughts on that? Let's see, what's he
Yeah.
saying?
Well, it's just
What's
saying
that?
why worry about anything, because we have this perfect love with us wherever we go, it's there. So why are we choosing the other when we've got this? Pure joy surrounds us, but we're still cherishing these illusions about ourselves. And why? Because we have the choice. We have this perfect love that goes with us wherever we go.
Yeah, it's just your own deepest awareness. That's why, the translation's helpful. This pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is your own true awareness, goes with you wherever you go. It can't not go with you wherever you go. It's your own awareness. You get it. It's not possible for it not to be there. So God is not some, distant off-planet God who may or may not be there for you, may or may not be listening to your prayers. God is your own deepest awareness, your most fundamental awareness, your true self that goes with you wherever you go because it's always there. You wouldn't exist if you didn't have that awareness. This is just making you aware of that. So, spiritual awakening is just becoming aware of what should be obvious. It's like we're just blind, and spiritual awakening is just going, well, you're just so blind and deaf to the obvious truth that you've now got to, let go of the blindfold and the earplugs that you put in to stop yourself from seeing and hearing this obvious truth that's with you always, that's everywhere. So how can you doubt it when it's your own true awareness? That's the question. And the more you look at the ego's thought system, the more you go, that's totally mad. That's insane. How can I not be what I am? How can I not have the fundamental awareness that I really am? How can that not be with me wherever I go? How is that possible? And the answer is it's not actually possible. So this is what Yeshua wants us to realize. It's not possible. Therefore, it is with me wherever I go. Therefore, it's always been with me wherever I go. It's only my own denial of it. That's the problem, which is insane and stupid because it's already there. So why am I denying what's already there? And that takes, huge amounts of time and energy and effort, causes great pain and suffering. And I'm doing this all to myself. For what purpose and reason?
Oh, it's bizarre. It is.
Well, this is what he's saying. There is no purpose or reason to any of it. It's just totally insane. And that's what we got to realize. That's all the course is trying to teach us. It's mad. Stop doing it because it's totally insane and there's no value to it whatsoever. And just let it go and realize that you already are pure formless awareness of perfect love. I am perfect because pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go. You already are that. There's nothing else. There's nothing else you can be. Once you really get that, then you awaken, don't you? Okay, I get it. That's so obvious. It's so simple. Why did I spend my whole life? Why was I searching for something to make me feel better about myself when this is always there and it's never not been there?
Well, we do know that is there. I've obviously had those glimpses, as we all have, but it is so strong, that ego. It's so strong. It really does try to, but as you rightly say, at least now we know that is our true self. Yeah.
So you see what he's trying to do
Comforting.
is he's trying to convince us of the argument and remind us, look, actually, this is totally obvious, it's totally logical. And if we can accept the logic of it, then we start the opening to the experience of it. You see that? That's his
Oh,
approach.
yes.
Saying,
Yeah.
well, you're not going to have the experience of pure formless awareness probably until you start the process of accepting it logically, because that's just the way our minds are wired up. It can happen in reverse. Sometimes people do have a spiritual epiphanies without logic, and then usually they spend years trying to figure out what happened. Their logical minds is okay, I can't really make sense of that. What was that all
And they
about?
want it back. They want it back. Yeah, there's
They
a
want
lot
it
of
back,
that.
and then sometimes they'll figure it out. Someone like Eckhart Tolle, didn't know, he has experience, and then he spends the rest of his life figuring it out, and he's done that, and that's been his path. Some people have an epiphany, and then they don't know how to get back there, and they sink into depression because they're just like, well, I had it and I've lost it and I can't get it back, and now I'm just bereft and alone because I know how good it could be, and but now I'm stuck in depression, wanting and craving the spiritual high, but not knowing how to get it back. So that can be a curse. Don't necessarily wish for a revelation straight away. Mine came after many, many years of spiritual practice and effort, like trying to undo the ego and learning forgiveness and putting in place the structures, and then bang, suddenly I have this pure formless awareness experience or revelatory experience. But
It was effortless.
yeah,
has to
when
be
I had
effortless.
it, but until then, I mean, I'd meditated for 9 days and my body was exhausted, and even a combination of not just the 9 days, but my whole life. And then finally, I just kind of relaxed and just let it all go, and I was ready, obviously. But fortunately, because
effortless.
I'd done all of the work, the preparatory work, it was like immediately afterwards, it all just made sense. I wasn't going, what is that about? And I have no idea. It was kind of a download, and I went, okay, it's actually making sense now. I'm getting it, really getting it, finally, of what this is all about. And I just sort of experientially knew, this is what they call insight, satori, in the Eastern traditions. You just get it, in an intuitive way that, book knowledge can't teach you. But I'd done a lot of that reading and that studying to prepare me for that moment of the revelation, and then the satori afterwards was, okay, how do you make sense of this? What does that experience mean? So, if it takes you, that was what, 15 years into A Course in Miracles. At that point, it happened 15, 16 years. If it takes you that long, don't be disheartened. Just go, well, that's the process. I've got to just keep doing the work and chipping away and letting go of the ego's thought system. And at some point, when I'm meant to, maybe a revelatory experience will happen. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Like
Doesn't matter. Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, no. Yes, just it'll come as it comes.
Do your work.
Yeah.
Just chip away patiently, persistently. I'd had times where I was like, well, I'm not really getting any fireworks here. This is, I'm just kind of chipping away, doing the work, and it's kind of sometimes seems a bit slow, and like sometimes, you'd feel like, well, am I really making progress here? Because the ego's still there, and am I getting this course, and am I really letting go? I think, we all have these questions and these doubts. But if you keep doing it and you keep practicing the lessons, you just do it diligently. This is what he's saying to us. Just do the lessons. You don't have to even worry about understanding them. Just practice them. Just read them. Just do what he says, and you'll slowly start getting it. It'll slowly, start making sense to you. And then whatever experiences will come, will come. If you're meant to have a revelatory experience, you will. But whatever happens, that's going to be the Holy Spirit's path for you. That's unfolding. So,
Because do you not feel as though, since you've had that experience, that you would like it again? Because that's the thing with the ego, isn't it? If it gets a high or a pleasure, it wants it again, to feel that again. So, but this is different, isn't it? It sounds
no,
like
not really. It wasn't like, oh my God, I really want to go back there.
you would like to go back
yeah,
there.
this is a glimpse of the ultimate truth. This is where I'm going ultimately. This is my eternal reality. I get that. But for now, I'm content to be in the world and do the work in the world and keep letting go, keep practicing forgiveness,
Being in the present,
following my higher purpose, following guidance of the Holy Spirit.
It's not, you won't feel.
That's it's there, but
need to. Yeah, you would. Can you get those experiences over and over? These spiritual highs?
I haven't had a revelatory experience quite to the same level since, but I do have, a lot of peace if I go in and I'm doing meditation.
Yeah.
It's very peaceful. It's a very nice experience, but there's still usually thought going on, and I'll be processing stuff, and then I'll go into body awareness, and then go back into thought, and then maybe I'm doing, a letting go process on something. So there's still thought, but it's all happening in quite a,
Peaceful.
way.
Yeah, but you haven't got the need to experience this revelatory experience that you had.
When it happens, it happens. I couldn't go, okay, right.
You're not sort of desiring it. Yeah, that's
You go,
right. You're
right.
not
Now I
desiring.
want the revelation. I'm going to sit and I'm going to do meditation until I get a revelatory experience.
Get that experience again. Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
So, I realized that's fortunately I haven't gone
That's
it. Oh, I want it back. Will I have a revelation today? Oh, I'm ready. No, I just went, that was what it was. It happened at that time. There was a reason for it. It was a great gift. It was a little glimpse of beyond the veil that really clarified a lot of things for me. It gave me a level of experiential knowledge and understanding that I didn't have until then. And as a result of that insight, the Art of Letting Go course and program was born. And so I'm very grateful. And then, you see then how the higher purpose manifests. Higher purpose. Turn on the light quickly. On a higher purpose then is to take that insight and communicate it to the world and help other people to go on a journey where they can have these kinds of insights and experiences as well. And out of that was born, the art of letting go. If you look at most great, teachings, religions, that was born out of a mystic experience. Someone had a mystic experience. They then felt called to express that into the world, to teach it. They became teachers, spiritual teachers, and a movement grew up around them. And then, it becomes a religion, ultimately, Christianity or Buddhism, Taoism. They all started with one person really just awakening and then becoming a teacher and the way shower for others. And then the mind gets hold of it and calls it something, and then it develops its own dogma and structure and language and so on. But it just came from an original mystic experience that person had. The Buddha had his awakening under the bo tree. Yeshua went into the desert and had mystic experience of awakening there, where he overcame the devil that's described in the Bible. And then he was baptized with the Holy Spirit. So he had these spiritual experiences, and then from that awareness he came in and he taught people, and that then became Christianity. So to refer back to our thing about higher purpose, theme of higher purpose today, what is your purpose? How do you take this great awareness of love, perfect love, and interpret that in your own unique way at this time, in this place? Because remember, all these people lived in a time, in a place, and their path was very much context specific. They had to do what they had to do in that time and in that place. Yeshua had his experience, and he came into that time, in that place, for a specific reason. That was part of his path to do what he came to do. He incarnated in that time, in that place, and was the perfect setting for his journey to unfold and for him to fulfill his destiny. And so this is, the Course tells us it's all perfect. Everything is working for your highest good. So you are in the right place at the right time always. It also says that. It's just, do you accept that? Can you see beyond the ego illusions of, oh, no, it's all going wrong and it's terrible? Can you see beyond that to, oh, no, this is actually all perfect in its apparent imperfection? This is the perfect opportunity for me to awaken to my true self and to overcome the ego and to spread that light in the world. And that's what's being offered me here. In every apparent disaster, there's that forgiveness opportunity that you can learn from and offer to everyone else. Okay. So, shall we do
Alright.
number 2 then, 42?
Sorry,
Yeah.
just a
Question?
quick, that time when you had on the Vipassana retreat on the 9th day, I mean, before that, did you have glimpses of, when you, because I mean, you would have done a lot of meditation, you've been doing the course. Did you have, what you talked about
Before the
meditation?
Vipassana retreat, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, glimpses or,
Yeah,
experiences
I mean,
with-
it wasn't all like spiritually barren. I'd had experiences, I'd had some access to pure form, never quite in the same way, but I
yeah,
had sort of really, really peaceful experiences. Gone into kind of a pure formless awareness before, but it wasn't quite the same as on the Vipassana. So yeah, I had and I had found a way through some really difficult times. There was a lot of personal difficulty that I had 10 years ago, and then I'd had to get through that, and the course helped me immensely to do that. So all of it had been good preparation. It was all part of learning that prepared me for that moment where I was obviously just right place, right time. Everything came together, and I just let go of trying. It's exactly what happened to the Buddha. He just stopped trying and he let it all go. And then he had his awakening experience. And he realized that trying is actually part of the problem. You've got to let that go to have that pure formless awareness experience. If you're trying to get there, you're never going to get there. Which is ironic because that's, the Vipassana is based on his teaching. But it was so much striving and trying, right? This is discipline and practice, and you're going to do this, and it's 12 hours a day, and very structured. And I understand why they do that, but then at a point you have to go beyond that. It's kind of a paradox. You need the discipline until you don't need the discipline. And you have to be guided. In that moment, I was guided by the Holy Spirit to just say, you know what, just relax. Let go of the practice, lie down on your bed, and just relax. And I went with that. If I'd listened to my ego, but no, the teacher said you've got to meditate. You've got to keep your back straight and you've got to stay upright, and you're not doing it properly if you don't do that. And that would have kept me, probably wouldn't have had the revelatory experience because I needed to relax everything, just let it all go to have that experience, you see. So there was a point where I had to let go of the discipline and let go of the practice. Fortunately, I was tapped in enough. I wasn't so brainwashed into the technique that I couldn't transcend it. Do you see what I mean? It was like, okay, I've come here to try it. I'm going to give it a full go. And I'd done it for 9 days. But then there was still this, because I had the course as another path, there was still this, where I said, okay, well, I'm trying this out. I'm giving it a go. But, I haven't forgotten why I'm really here. I haven't forgotten the truth of the Holy Spirit. It's with me through the whole experience. And in that moment, we just said, just lie down. Your body's tired. You're just physically really tired, almost exhausted. All that effort, to hold those postures for that length of time. It's just so physically uncomfortable. So your legs are sore, your back's sore, your bum's sore, everything's sore. Just to lie down. I can't tell you the relief. Just go, lie down, and you're in essentially savasana, right? That's a posture. It's a meditation posture. Savasana, it's a yoga posture, but it's all of the yoga postures are actually meditation postures. Meditation posture. Lie down, and then it's like boom. I'm in a savasana position, which is exactly the position I needed to be in to invite the revelatory experience. And then who knows? I don't know how long it was. Probably not that long, maybe only a few minutes. But just no thought. I went into a thoughtless state of awareness where there wasn't any thought anymore, but I was still aware. I wasn't asleep. I was just in what I now call pure formless awareness, because afterwards I went, well, what could I call that? What words really can describe it? And the best thing I could come up with is pure formless awareness. And then I added of perfect love later, because just the way the text is structured, you need sometimes to say perfect love rather than pure formless awareness of perfect love. So I added that in. So sometimes it's, because if it's pure formless awareness of perfect loves, it's a bit cumbersome. Or if there's too many ofs, the son of pure formless awareness of perfect love doesn't really work, does it? It's too many ofs, too lengthy. So the son of perfect love is the extension of perfect love. Then it becomes, so those adaptations came in time, but that was what came to me. So this change in language and translation of the course really, if you take it back to it, the foundation of it was that seminal experience, that mystic experience, you could call it. It was all born there out of the seed of that. And then my purpose has been, okay, we'll take that experience and use it to express and extend this awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love, into the world in your own unique way. And you've got a calling and a dharma, and you've got to follow that. What's kept me going, I think, is because there was the depth of that experience. You can't really explain it to someone who hasn't had it. There's an inspiration. There's something deeper than just, okay, well, I'm just doing this to get a result. I want to do this course because it's about getting it out there and making money and getting lots of people. And it's deeper than that. No, I need to do it because it's what I came to do. Understand? It's my calling. It's my dharma. It's why I'm here. And that gives you an inspiration and a strength, as this lesson says. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. It gives you that strength and that power that is not accessible through the ego. You'll never find it in the ego. The short term, okay, I want to get it out there. I want to get, this short-term goal met, and then I'll be elevated. Then my ego is going to feel happier. You're never going to get the same depth of inspiration, power, courage, all these good qualities that the Spirit brings us from the ego. It has to come from a deeper understanding, which usually is rooted in a deep spiritual experience, which has been called a mystic experience. Abraham Maslow called it a peak experience. But the world changes on these peak experiences. If you look at human history, it's so interesting, because the world changes and it pivots on peak experiences. People have a peak experience or mystic experience, which Abraham Maslow insisted were the same thing. He just called it peak experiences because mystic was a bit too out there, and the world of psychology he was in wouldn't accept it. But he insisted that they were the same thing. And these peak experiences or mystic experiences are what change the world, because they change people fundamentally. In that moment, they have a profound shift, and then they feel inspired to carry that into action and to do things that other people would go, well, that's extraordinary and courageous and crazy and all these kinds of things. But for them, it's just, well, that's what I feel called to do. Take Yeshua's life. I mean, he just took it to the extreme, took on the whole power structure of his day, wasn't scared to speak his truth, wasn't scared to go into the temple and literally upset the apple cart, turn over the tables, money's flying all over the place, challenging the very heart, going to the heart of the control system and challenging it. Wasn't scared to do that because he was inspired by something deeper, something higher. Let's give you another example. Martin Luther and the Reformation, transformed Europe and the world. He was inspired by a mystic experience. He was really caught up in the whole Catholic idea of guilt, and struggled to overcome that his whole life. And then one night just spent the whole night meditating on a particular Bible verse, which was written by Paul, saying, it's not by works, but by grace that we are saved. And to really understand what that meant, he had to wrestle with his ego, and he had to overcome this whole belief in guilt and sin. And he did. He overcame it, through this deep meditation, contemplation through the night. And out of that spiritual experience, mystic experience, was born the Reformation in Europe. Because he then had the courage to write his insights, put them on the Church of Wittenberg's 95 precepts. People could then read again. It was in the right time because the printing press had just been invented. So now they could print the stuff off. People read it. The ideas spread like wildfire. And suddenly you had this major awakening out of the sin and guilt program of the Catholic Church, which is clearly egoic and a control system. But it took someone to have that experience, and then that gave him the courage to, put his life on the line again. He was tried and they condemned him to death. He escaped because his benefactor kidnapped him and hid him away for years. But he would have been put to death for his beliefs. So these are extraordinary people who went to great lengths for the truth, to bring that truth into the world, and changed history in the process. And they fulfilled their purpose and their dharma by listening to the call. So we can learn from them and say, well, these principles are there. How do we do it? What is my purpose? What is my higher calling in life? And are we going to listen to that and follow it? That's the question. Okay, so God is my strength. Vision is his gift. Do you want to switch it? Elaine, you read the original, and then you read
God is my strength. Vision is his gift.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is my strength. Vision is its gift.
Let me not look to my own eyes to see today.
I will not rely on my own eyes to see today.
Let me be willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by God.
I am willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Christ's vision is his gift, and he has given it to me.
My true self's vision is its gift to me.
Let me call upon this gift today, so that this day may help me to understand eternity.
I call on this gift today to help me understand eternity. Up on the top, I will not rely on my own eyes to see today. I'm willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by pure formless awareness of perfect love. My true self's vision is its gift to me. I call on this gift today to help me understand eternity. So what he's saying is the difference between seeing in the body and vision, which is coming from, so my own eyes is coming from the ego, and seeing the illusion, whereas the vision is the truth that is given by formless awareness of perfect love. So with that gift from pure formless awareness of perfect love is enabling us to see or perceive truly. And this is, and we call on this gift today because it's always there. And falling on that gift helps us understand eternity or the truth.
Yeah. The vision is true perception. Vision that's given by pure formless awareness. We talk about vision, higher purpose. It comes down to who is helping us to see. the ego's vision is always dark. Its perception is always dark and very limiting. True self's vision shows us a higher purpose. It shows us true purpose and meaning for our lives, like a golden thread that runs through the darkness of the world. So it's like we're in a tunnel, but we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we follow the light through the maze to get out the end. And we take other people with us as we do that. And now we have a real purpose. He's saying to understand eternity, to understand that light, the eternal light of truth, is our purpose in this world. And it's going to help us. It's going to give us the strength and the courage and everything we need to find our way out of the maze of the world, the matrix, home. And lovely lessons. It's saying it's my strength, and it's going to give me the strength, and it's going to give me the vision to do that. And I've just got to trust it, because that is its purpose. It's designed to do that for you. And it's in fact inevitable, because the highest purpose of everyone and of the universe is this awakening process. So it's an inevitability built in to the structure of the universe. If you tap into that, then you tap into the ultimate power of the universe. And again, we've seen this in people who've done this in human history, have made a profound impact on the world. People I've mentioned, like Yeshua, the Buddha, Martin Luther, recently Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, named after Martin Luther, so on. These are the people who we really look up to, who inspire us, far more so than your average bog standard politician. Who gets inspired by Donald Trump? Well, maybe there are a few people in the deep south of America who do, but very few people. It's not genuine inspiration. Whereas someone like Yeshua has inspired people for thousands of years through his life, through his example. So it's a different kind of quality of inspiration that comes from that higher purpose. Okay, so anything else on number 2, lesson 42? Lovely lesson, which follows on from the next one. If it goes with me wherever I go, then the strength and this vision is with me wherever I go. I have all of this strength, this power, this vision with me everywhere. So, it gives us a sense of great confidence. We now have true confidence in the world, not because of our ego's expectations, but because this power goes with us wherever we go. And we know that it's going to give us the strength, it's going to give us the vision or true perception at every point in the journey. Okay. So number 3, lesson 43, this is, God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. You want to switch it again?
Okay. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is my source. I cannot perceive apart from it.
I can see what God wants me to see.
I can only perceive what pure formless awareness of perfect love wants me to perceive.
I cannot see anything else.
I cannot perceive anything else.
Beyond his will lie only illusions.
Only illusions lie beyond perfect love's awareness.
As these I choose when I think I can see apart from him.
I choose these when I think I can perceive apart from it.
It is these I choose when I try to see through the body's eyes.
I choose these when I try to see through the body's eyes.
Yet the vision of Christ has been given to me to replace them.
Yet I have the vision of my true self to replace them.
It is through this vision that I choose to see.
Today I choose to perceive truly through this vision. From the top, I can only perceive what pure formless awareness of perfect love wants me to perceive. I cannot perceive anything else. Only illusions lie beyond perfect love's awareness. I choose these when I think I can perceive apart from it. I choose these when I try to see through the body's eyes. Yet I have the vision of my true self to replace them. Today I choose to perceive truly through this vision. So it's just, going through our choice to perceive things truly. And it's asking us today to see through the pure formless awareness of perfect love's eyes rather than the body's eyes. And we do have the vision of true self to replace the illusion of the body's eyes.
Yeah, so you think how profound this is, because we're so caught up in seeing through the body's eyes. And the ego says, well, if you see it, it must be real, right? You can see it. There's a person, there's something that's tangible. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it, it must be there. And this is saying, no, that's all part of the illusion. The ego set you up to believe that, but that's not true. Vision of your true self looks beyond the body's eyes, looks beyond form. And it sees deeper than that. It sees to the fundamental awareness, pure formless awareness that underlies it all. That's not dependent on the images. Images come and go, they shift and they change. It sees to the underlying awareness or the screen. If you want to look at it through the analogy of a movie, instead of focusing on the images projected onto the screen, you focus on the screen and you realize, well, what's actually fundamental is the screen. That's what doesn't change. The images are changing all the time. The images come and go, and so they're not real. At some point, the images can disappear, and if the images disappear, then what will be left is just the screen. You've ever sat in an empty movie theater? You get a sense of that. I always used to love that experience of going early, before the images start, and you just sit in the movie theater in the dark, and it was really, really, really peaceful. And after the movie's finished, same thing. So it's this that he's pointing to, the deeper awareness. And I have the vision of my true self to replace the ego's images. Okay, so any other thoughts or comments on that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
Clear.
good. Kim?
That's good, thank you.
All right, so number 44 then. Lesson 44. God is the light in which I see. I'm going to switch it again.
God is the light in which I see.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I perceive truly.
I cannot see in darkness.
I cannot perceive truly in negative awareness.
God is the only light.
Therefore, if I am to perceive truly, it must be through pure formless awareness. We're missing something.
Left out. Yeah, left out a sentence there.
Yeah.
So that would be, so you do the translation. God is the only light. How would that translate?
Pure formless awareness is the only awareness.
Yeah. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the only awareness.
Therefore, if I am to see, it must be through him.
Therefore, if I am to perceive truly, it must be through pure formless awareness.
I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong. Now it is given me to understand that God is the light in which I see.
I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong. Now I can understand that pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I perceive truly.
Let me welcome vision and the happy world it will show me.
Now I choose to welcome vision and the happy world it shows me.
And from the top, the alternative.
I cannot perceive truly in negative awareness. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the only awareness. Therefore, if I am to perceive truly, it must be through pure formless awareness. I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong. Now I can understand that pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I perceive truly. Now I choose to welcome vision and the happy world it shows me.
Okay.
You're saying that we cannot perceive truly in negative awareness or through illusions. And the way we try to define seeing through those illusions is wrong, because we cannot perceive truly through that. As we get to understand pure formless awareness of perfect love, or get to know it, then our awareness is what we become aware of is what we perceive truly.
Yeah.
So to be part of one pure formless awareness, or to have a vision, we need to welcome it. The gift is the happy world, shows us. So if we're perceiving truly, then we're perceiving a happy world, not a negative one.
Yeah, which is all about your interpretation. You know, the images remain the same, but how do you interpret the images? That's the question. If you see beyond the images to the screen, then the images don't really matter. It could be the most grotesque, horrendous image, but you see through it to the light beyond, or the awareness beyond, or the screen beyond, you see? So you realize the grotesque image isn't really real. So don't focus on the image because it's not reality. And then none of those grotesque images of the ego really matter, because you realize, but it's just a screen I'm looking at, right? Doesn't matter what's projected onto it. It could be the worst horror movie, or it could be a soap, or it could be a comedy, or whatever it is. Whatever the images are, don't really matter, because they're just images. The screen is what remains untouched and unchanged by any of the images. And that's what this is teaching us. This pure formless awareness is the screen that remains untouched beyond all images. And that's the awareness that helps us to perceive truly. Because we see through all the images. You know, when things like we see the light beyond them, what does that actually mean? It means you just don't focus on the image. There's an underlying awareness. That's why we translate light into awareness, because I think it's helpful. God is the light in which I see. What does that actually mean? Light is a lovely sounding word, but what does that actually mean? It's an awareness. That's what it means. This is the awareness in which I perceive truly. So when I'm in this awareness, then my perception is true, and I'm seeing beyond the illusion of all the images and the pain and the suffering that focusing on those images causes me. And I'm seeing the truth of pure awareness that is transcendent, that's eternal, that is then naturally happy, peaceful, loving, and joyful, beyond the images. And that's the truth of what we are always seeing, because that awareness is always there, it's always present. God goes with me wherever I go, right? So can you see how all of these are linked? When we've done the fifth one, we'll just read them all again in sequence. You can see how they all connect up and how they link. You see it's part of one thought system that he's teaching us. All the ideas interlock, interweave, interlink, and they support each other. They make sense. If this is true, then it reinforces the truth of all the others and vice versa. Yeah? And that's what he's trying to teach us, a cohesive thought system that is the complete answer to the ego's thought system, the complete undoing of the ego's entire thought system. That's what he's training us to, first of all, to conceive of, to just think, okay, that's possible, then to start believing, and then finally to know as the truth, which is when it becomes knowledge and moves from the domain of perception to knowledge, which is then transcending the illusion. So knowledge would be knowing that only the screen is real. Even while the images are going on, you're not affected by any of them. You know that actually all I'm looking at ever is a screen. It's unchanging. And I don't get confused by any of the images. They don't convince me that any of what they're showing me is real. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All good. Any questions? We go on to the last one, which is lesson 45. God is the mind with which I think.
God is the mind with which I think.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I think.
I have no thoughts I do not share with God.
I have no thoughts I do not share with pure formless awareness of perfect love.
I have no thoughts apart from him, because I have no mind apart from his.
I have no thoughts apart from it, because I have no awareness apart from it.
As part of his mind, my thoughts are his, and his thoughts are mine.
As part of its awareness, my thoughts are its, and its thoughts are mine. From the top, I have no thoughts I do not share with pure formless awareness of perfect love. I have no thoughts apart from it, because I have no awareness apart from its. As part of its awareness, my thoughts are its, and its thoughts are mine.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's just saying that, it's oneness, this blank screen, this pure formless awareness is us, and there's no thoughts apart from it. We are joined. My thoughts are its, and its thoughts are mine. We are just one. And obviously, once we realize that, then we've awakened.
Yeah. It's so simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
God is the mind with which I think. Okay, so it's my own true awareness. It's all that's really there. So this awareness is then responsible for all my thoughts, all my words, all my actions come from this fundamental awareness. This is what I am. Why is that so hard for us to accept? That's the question. Because we invented another awareness that says, no, you're not that awareness at all. You're Elaine Clark or Kim Taylor or Jonathan Quayle. And you're a person, and you have a body, and you have a personal identity, and you have problems, and you have challenges in your life, and you have desires and fears and expectations, and a past and a future, and a whole life history and a story, and da 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 da, and on we go. And it's all just thoughts that are images, right? Those thoughts are part of the images projected onto the screen. You see that? So those thoughts about ourselves and our lives are really fueled by, they project out onto the screen, And then they are reinforced by our misperceptions of the images. So now, that's how the illusion perpetuates itself. Projection perception. I project onto the screen. These thoughts then get projected out, and I now see them as apparently real images on the screen of my life, and things and people and events and circumstances happening and changing. And then I perceive them from the separate self that I think I am, that projected them, and I go, oh, this is all real. And it's quite scary. And, I'm quite scared, or I'm excited, or I'm terrified, or I'm anxious, or I'm fearful, or I'm jealous, or I'm angry, or whatever it is. And all of it seems to be very real to you. And the ego's got you in its grip. It's got you in believing that the images are real and that you are an image in the dream world rather than the underlying screen of awareness, pure formless awareness, onto which it's all projected. And that all the images cover over. You see that? So going back to my mystic experience, the insight I had immediately after that was that the entire world is just that. It's a projection onto the screen, and its only purpose, all the images and our seemingly separate selves and lives that interpret those images are just designed to cover over this pure awareness that I just experienced. That's their only purpose. That's why it's called the veil of illusion. And this is like all coming to me. I'm getting this massive drama. I'm going, oh my God, I see. That's why it's called the veil of illusion, because it's all covered over this awareness. Because the ego doesn't want us to know that pure formless awareness. So it's got to cover it over. And it's done it very successfully. Through the mechanism of projection perception, our thoughts get projected out. They seem to be real. So now we see them as apparently real people and other images floating around in this dream world. And we interpret it from the same thought system, separate self, that projected it, which reinforces that that separate self is real. And we get caught up in a cycle of projection perception, thinking that it's all real, and forgetting that really there's only the screen, which is pure formless awareness. That's been covered over, that pure awareness has been covered over by all this mad activity of the mind. And I just got that all in, a few moments. It was like, download, okay, I get it, I see. That's the whole point. That's what's going on here. Now it all makes sense. I see what's going on. I see through the illusion, through the veil of illusion. This is what awakening means. You've seen through the dream, you've seen through the deception of the ego to the truth that underlies it. And therefore you can't be fooled anymore. You can't be deceived anymore because you've seen the truth. And now you're thinking with this pure awareness. And I have to say, since then, there's no doubt that my thoughts have shifted. It's not to say the ego never tries to make a comeback, but by and large, it's the pure awareness that's in charge that very quickly reasserts itself and says, no, that's not the way. Let that go. You can see through the illusion of it. You see the falsity of the ego's thought system and everything that comes from it. And you have this discernment, which is called wisdom, that you didn't have before. And this is what these lessons are cultivating. God is the mind with which I think. This pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I think. If you only think with that awareness, you cannot go wrong, right? Because that is the truth. So the Holy Spirit then is a remembrance of this awareness that can translate this awareness into thoughts, into words, into actions, into behavior, into effect in this world. You see how that translation mechanism works? Let's have a look at the Holy Trinity, actually. Holy Trinity. So this always summarizes it. So this pure awareness is level 1, what Ken Wapnick called level 1. Pure formless awareness, which has been called many things. You could call it God or Father, heaven, truth, knowledge, universe with a capital U, revelation, oneness, being, pure formless awareness of perfect love, source, spirit, life, reality, essence, presence, the now, Brahman, nirvana, samadhi, but it's the absolute being of who you are. That's who you really are. The I am presence, also being called that. Just ran out of space there, so I couldn't fit that. Many names for it. But that's not that helpful to us if we can't interpret it in this world, yeah? So we need our true self, which is the Christ, our higher awareness, and the Holy Spirit, which is our ability to take this ultimate truth and apply it to what we experience in time and space. So that's what we call true perception or Christ vision. So our true self, which is connected to this pure awareness, can nevertheless interpret all the experiences we have in time and space in duality, and now come up with what we call a true perception or Christ vision. Or a correction, a miracle, a correction. It's also called forgiveness or letting go, or going with the flow, or surrender, or acceptance, or salvation, or at-one-ment, or the last judgment, the second coming, enlightenment, satori, rebirth, resurrection, awakening, grace, transformation, intuition, guidance, healing, growth, many, many names for it. But there's a process to all of these, you see? They're not ultimate being, but there's a process, and there's always perception involved in these. And so this is a teaching to teach us to take the ultimate truth and interpret the world of illusion from the perspective of the ultimate truth. And that happens through the mechanism of the true self or the Christ and the Holy Spirit or the remembrance of perfect love, which is then the Holy Trinity that is an operating system for your life. And now you can see how the Holy Trinity starts to make sense. In most Christian theology and theologians, they don't understand it. So it's kind of the Holy Trinity, and they try and explain it from the perspective of, well, all parts of the Holy Trinity are equal. No, they're not, right? God is fundamental. God is the only fundamental truth. The Holy Spirit and the Christ, or the true self, are illusions. But they're necessary illusions to help us awaken from the dream. So they part of the operating system within a dream world that's going to get you out of it. But like you're in a maze and you need a rope to follow to get you out. The rope isn't ultimately true or necessary once you're out of the maze, but when you're in it, it's the most useful thing that you can have to get you out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what the Holy Trinity is. It's an operating system for your life. And what he's trying to teach us through the lessons is how to operate the system. Each lesson is a lesson in, okay, here's how you can apply this highest truth, pure formless awareness of perfect love, and you can interpret your experience in the world from this perspective. That happens via what we call the true self, or the Christ, and the Holy Spirit, which remembers perfect love and is able to reinterpret these experiences from this higher perspective, and that we call true perception or Christ vision. Now suddenly you've got an operating system that makes a whole lot of sense. This makes sense. In fact, this is the only way you're going to do it. Because otherwise, these realms, pure formless awareness of perfect love and the world of illusion, will forever be apart. They'll forever be separated. You need a mechanism that bridges the gap, that allows you to reinterpret this from the perspective of this to create a bridge or a pathway from the one to the other, which is exactly what he's done through the course, through this mind training. And the Holy Trinity is then just the operating system that's going to guide you out of the matrix back home. Very, very, it's like a GPS or a sat nav. If you need guidance to get to a destination, that's essential. When you're on the journey, you need that. Otherwise, you're going to get lost, don't you? When you get to the journey's end, the destination, you can throw away the sat nav. You don't need it. You switch it off. And that's the difference between level 1 and this intermediate level that's going to guide you out of the dream world. It's like you need this. This is the sat nav that's going to guide you home. So we need to learn how to follow that guidance, right? If you're in the dream world and you need guidance, you need to learn how to follow that sat nav. That becomes the most critical skill that you can learn. So learning to listen to the voice of your true self, to the Holy Spirit's guidance, is essential. And that's why we do the mind training, to learn that. And that's why we practice over and over. We do the lessons because every lesson is a lesson in learning to listen to this true self and its interpretations of the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kim, any questions?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the practice, but yeah. I like the analogy with the sat nav system.
Yeah. The guidance system that you know, if you're,
Mm,
we've all been driving and you don't know where you're going. I mean,
mm,
sure. I remember days before SatNav, 25 years ago, I came to, oh God, it was 30 years ago. Jeez, I'm getting old. 30 years ago, almost. I came to the UK and I was on a squash tour and days before SatNav and stuff. And so I remember trying to navigate to find these clubs. And it was winter. So there was, and this one time there was this mist. One of the A roads got clogged up. So we went into, you know, all the B roads. And we try to navigate our way in the mist. Oh, we'd be using maps. Oh my God. Just it was we were like 2 hours late because we just couldn't find the place. Because there was no guidance system. We just like lost in the, you know, it's all white out. You could literally see like 10 meters in front of us. And we're now trying to navigate via a map, which wasn't a very good guidance system. Not, you know, we needed something just to say, right, you know, go 500 yards and then turn left. Okay, go another kilometer, turn right, and so on. We didn't have that. What the Holy Spirit is, and the Holy Trinity, is that guidance system that says, okay, you're lost in the dark. It's quite difficult, but I'll tell you, go left, go right, do this, do that. Just follow my guidance, and I'll show you the way out of what can seem to be a very difficult, almost impossible situation. I'll guide you out of it because I know the way, because it's got the whole map in its awareness. It knows the whole dream. It knows past, present, future. It knows how you fit into the bigger picture. It knows things that you can't possibly know from your little self. And then it's going to guide you from that higher perspective of knowing how it's all fitting together. And it can see, it's a helicopter, it can see where you are in the maze. It can go, okay, I can see exactly where you are. I know you've got to go left now. Get to your destination, you've got to go left, you've got to go right. And you can download that. You can listen to that. But you've got to get clear. You've got to tune out the other channel. The ego's going, oh my God, it's terrible, freak out, don't know what to do, listen to your fears, go into the contracted little self, listen to that guidance, you know, that's going to help you. And you've got to tune that out and then go, no, I'm just listening to the one channel here. And that learning to listen to that one channel is the purpose of our lives. Very simply. So that kind of wraps it up very nicely. All ties it up back to the higher purpose, which is to awaken to our true selves and learn to listen to that true self and its guidance always and in all ways. All right, so that's the lessons done. Shall we finish off with the meditation? Are you
yeah.
happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do a meditation on the lessons. I'll guide you through them and be a nice wrapping up of it. I don't think you probably want to get started on the text now because then it's going to be very late night. It's already nearly 9:30 now. Here, 10:30 for you, Kim. So
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, let's do a 20-minute med and we'll close it out there, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. So just give me a moment. What happened? Did that collapse? I think it probably did. Cover selected. Didn't happen. Okay, never mind. All right, so this is a meditation on today's workbook lesson 59, which is a review lesson in which we will review the original lessons 41 through to 45. So just to start with, making yourself comfortable. Just sitting in your favorite meditation posture. Your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Draw the energy up the spine into your heart center. You can put one hand on your heart, connecting with your heart space if you like. Draw it up into the crown of your head. Pausing at the top of the inhale. So just scan your mind. Smile. And just let go of any thoughts and emotions going on there. Just clean them all out, let them all go. With the help of today's first lesson, which is God goes with me wherever I go, or pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go. Why? Because it's your own true awareness. How can you be alone when this awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love, always goes with you? How can you be doubtful and unsure of yourself when it is perfectly certain? How can you be disturbed by anything that rests in you in absolute peace? How can you suffer when perfect love and joy surround you through it? Ask yourself these questions. And then say to yourself as an affirmation as you exhale, just let all of that go. Say, I will not cherish illusions about myself. I'm willing to let them go, blow them away to the nothingness they really are with the breeze of your breath. They're going, gone. All the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. I'll not cherish illusions about myself. I am perfect because pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go. Say that and then just rest for a few moments in this perfect awareness. Recognize that this awareness is always there. It's always with you. Never actually been apart from this awareness, been separated from it. Even in your darkest times, this awareness was always there. You just covered it over with a bunch of other thoughts and emotions that weren't true. So it wasn't that this awareness departed from you, that abandoned you. It was that you denied it, you rejected it. So it seemed that it had abandoned you, but actually you'd abandoned it. And then you project that rejection onto it and say, it rejected me, but it was you who rejected it. So now accept it back. Just accept that this awareness is your awareness. It goes with you wherever you go. How could it not go with you wherever you go if it's your own true fundamental awareness? It's not possible that you couldn't have this awareness. Without this awareness, you would have no existence, no life, no awareness, because it is your fundamental awareness. It's so obvious when it's stated in these terms, but the obvious is obscured in the ego's insane thought system. So we need to state the obvious repeatedly, over and over, until we accept it as true. Not just intellectually or conceptually, but experientially. So try and do that now. Just sink into this awareness, experience it. Know it is your deepest self, your deepest awareness. Accept that it's who you are. Pure formless awareness, perfect love goes with me wherever I go because it is my own fundamental awareness, without which I have no life. And so it is. So breathing in again. Last deep breath in. So embrace the second lesson with the inhale breath. Invite it into your awareness. So God is my strength, or pure formless awareness of perfect love is my strength. Vision is its gift. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is my strength. And vision is its gift. So I will not rely, say to yourself, I will not rely on my own eyes to see today. I'm willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing through the body's eyes for the vision that is given by pure formless awareness of perfect love. My true self's vision is its gift to me. So I call on this gift today to help me understand eternity. Breathing in this eternal gift, this vision of Christ, your true self. Breathe it in, invite it into every part of your mind, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your being is infused with the strength of God, or your formless awareness of perfect love, and you have its vision, its gift. Its gift is perfect loving awareness. And so you exhale and just let go. Blow it all away. Anything that's denying this awareness, it's telling you you're weak and afraid and you don't have the strength to cope. Just blow it away with the breeze of the breath to the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. Allow our stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And rest in the strength and the vision of the gift of this awareness for a few moments. Breathing in and out through your nose, observe the breath. Sink inwards to the strength and see the vision, the true perception. That is its gift. Breathing in again. Invite the third idea for review in with the breath. God is my source, or pure formless awareness of perfect love is my source in the alternative version of the lesson. So I cannot see or perceive apart from him or it. I cannot see apart from him. I cannot perceive apart from it. And breathe in this pure awareness again. It is your source. It is the very source of your being, of your awareness, without which you would have no awareness, no life. So how can you perceive apart from it? To perceive, to think, to do anything apart from it is delusional. Can you see that? So Isha points that out. He says, I can only perceive what pure formless awareness of perfect love wants me to perceive. I cannot perceive anything else, denying existence of anything else. All else is false. Illusions, as he says, only illusions lie beyond perfect love's awareness. I choose these. When I think I can perceive apart from it. I choose these when I try to see through the body's eyes. We've got to move beyond visual perception. That's an illusion. Yet, he says, I have the vision of my true self. I have the true perception of my true self to replace them, these illusions. So today I choose to perceive truly through this vision. Just exhale out and let go. Exhale, blow it all out. The breeze of your breath. So the nothingness that it really is. So you're making a choice and a commitment to perceive truly through this vision and only this vision. If you allow the ego's vision, the ego's misperceptions in, then you have a split mind and you will have constant vacillations between the two ways of seeing, of perceiving, until you choose one of them. It says, I have the vision of my true self to replace all of these illusions. So you've got to allow your true self to do that. How do you do that? By letting go of your belief in and your attachment to the false images, the false perceptions that the ego has produced. That is how you choose to perceive truly through this vision. So say, today I choose to perceive truly through this vision. Exhale, blow it all out. Breathe in again. Invite the next lesson, the next idea in, which is that God is the light in which I see, or pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I perceive truly. Invite this idea in to your being. Acknowledge its truth. Say, I cannot perceive truly in darkness or negative awareness. Call it negative awareness. If you negate the truth, then it's negative awareness. God is the only light. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is the only awareness. And therefore, if I am to perceive truly, it must be through this awareness. I've tried to define what seeing is, and I've been wrong. Right? To define seeing as seeing through the body's eyes. Visual images we see, we think are reality. What we can touch and feel and taste and smell and hear and see, think that's reality. The images projected onto the screen cover over our true awareness, cover over pure formless awareness of perfect love. We think that that's real. But now I can understand that pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I perceive truly. It's only in this awareness that I can ever perceive truly. Now, I choose to welcome vision and the happy world it shows me. Now I choose to welcome vision and the happy world it shows me. So invite that awareness and the vision it shows you in. If there's anything troubling you in your life, just let it go, realizing it's just an image on a screen covering over the screen, which is your true awareness and the true awareness of everyone else. Actually, all there is the screen. The images don't matter at all. So rest in the awareness of this deeper awareness of the screen. When you see through the images to the screen, then you have true awareness, you have true perception. And realize the images don't matter at all. They're just images. None of the images matter. They come and they go, they shift and they change. Their only purpose is to cover over the screen, convince you that the images are real and the screen is not. But actually, the screen is the only thing that's permanent and real. Images are clearly temporary. Come and they go, they shift and they change. How can you rely on any of them? So you can only perceive the screen through screen awareness. Your own pure formless awareness of perfect love sees through the images to the awareness, same awareness that is its awareness that underlies them. So said another way, the I am presence recognizes itself everywhere. God recognizes itself everywhere. God goes with you wherever you go. Your formless awareness of perfect love is with you wherever you go, as your own fundamental awareness. You can see how these ideas tie up. That was the first review lesson in today's review lesson. God or pure formless awareness goes with me wherever I go, because it is the screen. It's everywhere. Without the screen, there would be no images, no reality. It's the foundational awareness in which you exist and in which you think. So, final lesson today is God is the mind with which I think, or pure formless awareness of perfect love is the awareness in which I think. Breathe in this awareness again. Whenever you stay in this awareness, notice how quiet and peaceful you are. And any thoughts that come out of that quiet, peaceful awareness are then your real thoughts. The awareness inspires those thoughts. Say, I have no thoughts, I do not share. Pure formless awareness of perfect love. I have no thoughts apart from it, because I have no awareness apart from it. So my fundamental awareness is this awareness. All thought comes out of this awareness, because there's no other source, there's no other foundation. So now my thoughts are connected to this awareness, their source, and they are what we call holy thoughts or inspired thoughts. So as part of its awareness, my thoughts are its, and its thoughts are mine. We share the same awareness, we share the same thoughts. This awareness is now yours, it's thinking for you. Thought then creates emotion, creates words, creates actions, creates consequences in the world. So you see how this awareness can then ripple through your entire life and literally change everything. Because the foundation of everything is this awareness, which translates into thoughts, emotions, sense perceptions. Then that creates actions. Actions create consequences, set in process, a chain of events that then becomes the world we live in, the so-called reality of the world we live in. And see how this awareness then can extend through your thoughts and through your words and actions into the world, which becomes your higher purpose, tied back to the theme of today. This is where your higher purpose arises. You become aware of it. Start to follow the guidance, surrendering to spirit, able to follow its guidance to think and speak and act in ways that are inspired by this awareness, i.e., inspired by God. So you become a messenger or a teacher of God in the world, as many before have done. Walk in the footsteps of the likes of the Buddha and Yeshua and the great spiritual teachers and people who followed their Dharma, their higher purpose, like I mentioned Martin Luther, Mohandas Gandhi, and Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela, and other great souls who have followed this higher purpose, this calling to express this awareness of perfect love in the world in their own unique way. That was their Dharma, that was their higher purpose, their destiny. You are called upon to find the same Dharma, the same purpose, although it will express differently for you. You have your own special function, but it's there, it's waiting for you in the potential that is available to you right now, in every moment. Know that this awareness, God's awareness, pure formless awareness, perfect love will guide you, because its awareness is your awareness and its thoughts are your thoughts. So you cannot fail to get the guidance that you need to speak and act in ways that are guided, that serve the unfolding of your purpose. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, observe the breath, relax. and allow yourself to sink inwards to this deeper awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love. It's your only true awareness, the awareness in which you think. It's the awareness in which you perceive truly, the light in which you see. It's your source. You cannot perceive apart from it. It's your strength. Its vision is its gift. And it goes with you wherever you go. You can never be apart from it. Smile and just rest in that certainty. This is what's been referred to as the arms of God. Just relax into that embrace. The arms of God, just rest in your fundamental awareness. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, and surrender into that loving awareness, which is your own true awareness. For a couple of minutes of deep silence. Now just gently coming back into an awareness of your body and the breath, senses, and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the exhale, top of the inhale. Wow. Scan your mind for any negative thoughts and emotions. If they're still there, just blow them away with the breeze of your breath. Remind yourself of these key ideas to help you do that. So pure formless awareness of perfect love goes with me wherever I go. It is my strength and vision is its gift. It is my source, so I cannot perceive apart from it. It is the awareness in which I perceive truly. And it's the awareness in which I think. So there's no other awareness. Blow anything else away, all other awareness. It's like a dark cloud, a black smoke of illusion, just blown away by your true awareness. Blow it all away to nothingness that it really is. Lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining out. And just rest in this deeper awareness, this fundamental awareness. For a few moments, called the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, the peace of pure formless awareness. Anchor the state in. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises. Notice what you're smelling. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Notice all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state. State of mind without illusions. Showing the truth is true. Anchor the state in. Keep the state in your awareness. For the rest of the evening, through the night, on into tomorrow. So it is said, and so it is done. Now on the count of 3, open your eyes, just look around. Take a minute just to look around the room, noticing everything from this very calm, peaceful awareness. So all of these images that you see around you are just images projected onto the screen of pure formless awareness. Can you sense that underlying all these seemingly separate objects is one screen, one awareness? And that awareness is your awareness. You are one with that awareness. It is you, you are it. None of the images really have any power to come between this awareness and its extensions. Images cannot separate you from this awareness. You see that? So just feel into that. Close your eyes if you need to. Feel the power of this truth, of this awareness. The pure formless awareness is the awareness in which I think. It's the awareness in which I perceive truly, so I cannot perceive apart from it. It's my strength and vision is its gift. And it goes with me wherever I go. So it is. And open your eyes with that intention set. carry on in this very connected state of formless awareness for the rest of the evening and on into tomorrow and the rest of your week. So it is. Amen. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and of tonight's session. So thank you, Kim and Elaine, for joining. It's great. I really enjoyed the session. Hope you did. And
Yep.
I hope to see you soon. So yeah, maybe next week, sometime Wednesday. Wednesday's always a good evening. I'll run regular sessions in the evening, so put that in your diary if that works for you. Or just pick another day. I'll be advertising the sessions on email and Telegram. So just let me know if you're planning to join one. Okay, so yeah, thank you. I enjoyed the session. Hope you did. Hope it's prepared you for a good night's sleep. Thank you.
The pool guys came back, yeah?
All right. We'll see you both soon.
What's that?
Thanks, Jimmy.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Again.
Good night, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Again. Yeah.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.
So that's a wrap for today. Thank you to Kim and Elaine for joining. If you enjoyed this session, then why not hit the subscribe button and subscribe to receive more content like this. Go live 2 or 3 times a week. So subscribe and you'll get notified whenever I do that. You can also go to lifebuild.com. You can see that in the background there. The logo says Lifebuild, so just lifebuild.com into your browser. I'll put the link below in the comments box as well. And you can sign up to receive some of what I showed you today, the daily quote, the message about the daily quote, the daily lesson, some meditations, and shorter breath breaks on the lessons, as well as invitations to join these live sessions on Zoom. So go check it out, sign up, and I hope to see you on the inside of the group and maybe of one of these sessions soon. Watch the channel. Yeah, just going to be doing a masterclass soon. So I'll be uploading some videos and telling you more about it. If you want to know more about the Art of Letting Go course program and community, then go to lifebuild.com, sign up to the Telegram group, and I will communicate with you via that channel. Invite you to the masterclass and so on. Or if you don't want to do that, subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified via videos that I upload to the channel. So I hope to connect with you soon. Thanks for listening and watching, and namaste. This means the truth in me acknowledges and honors that same truth in you. And wishing much love.